It was 2010, August 27th, extremely hot day. I had errands to run, etc. During the day. I was working night shift, which consists of a 12-hour shift from 8 o'clock in the evening till 8 in the morning. I was on my way home to clean up, have dinner, and then go in on shift. It was shortly after 3 o'clock. Driving my vehicle, and I felt an enormous pain. Next thing I know, I woke up to the sound of a transit bus honking his horn at me. In retrospect, I believe he was trying to tell me that he was radioing or phoning. To me, it was just a noise, and I had to get out of that situation. The true male thing, it denied everything. I had all the pains, the semi on my chest, the swollen chin, the stupid ache in the back. Anyhow, continued driving to my home here, drove into the driveway, and again, apparently had another heart attack. At which time, luckily, I brought the truck to a halt, got out, came in the house. My two sons were home. My youngest son, the 12-year-old, looked at me and just started screaming for my older son, the 22-year-old, who was also on night shift. He's a lineman with Hydro. And I just said, it's hot out, I need a shower. I went in the shower, the water was hitting me. That's when I gave in. The water hurt that was coming out. At which time, dried off, got dressed how I could, came downstairs because, again, denying. Didn't want the firemen running through my house if that indeed was what was going to happen. And that's it. All I know is my older son came down, went to grab me, and I collapsed onto the couch in the living room. I then was awoken to a brigade of happy young men, thankfully, who without them I wouldn't be standing telling my story. And that's what I'm trying to get across. It wasn't just the firemen, it was the trained EMS individuals and how they worked together, along with the captain, along with their training, their orderly fashion. That's why I'm here. Fortunate for me, I was able to be cared for by them until such time as I could be transported. They have a wonderful thing called a clot buster that I had to wait for supervision on. And at that point was when I knew I was in deep trouble because I started to go down quickly. I was in the ambulance, and all I remember is hearing another siren and then an extreme relief, and that was when the clot buster was administered. And it was like that semi was just lifted by a crane off me. But the thing I remember distinctly is an individual, and I'm pretty positive his name is Andrew. He held my elbow from the time he arrived, which was 2 minutes after my collapse. In other words, that's how long it took them to get here, which thankfully we do have them spread out in our neighborhoods, close to us. And we can replace all sorts of things, we can do all sorts of campaigns, but the thing we all have to remember is to have them around. If they're not here, I wouldn't be here, which sometimes maybe that's not a good thing, but to me, I'm happy. Andrew held my hand, so to speak. I'm not a little guy, but I thank, he's my new God. I thank him that I can still say that word. So, with his help and the rest of the crew, I made it to St. Boniface, at which point I went up for a stent about 4 to 5 hours later. That's when he finally let go of my arm. Quite a man.